I would like to cover this up so I can be ready for the 2023 December. Did I say that right? Welcome, it's Winnie from BellaSunshyn. I'm sure y'all are aware that Barbara and Louisa has been hosting the December for a couple of years now. I wanted to do it last year, but I couldn't. So this year I want to be prepared and be ready by December. What they are using is a 3-ring binder. And I'm not a fan of a 3-ring binder, but I'll trust the process and see if I really hate the 3-ring binder system or if I'm gonna love it. I am going to cover this book up using a system that I've never done before. I saw something, I'm not sure if it was YouTube they were advertising or Facebook. I saw someone have a journal. It was a corset spine type of journal. And I went on YouTube to try to find on, how to do it. And I found this woman named Eva. She did one, and then I totally forgot about it. When Barbara and Louisa showed what they did to their 3-ring binder, how they covered it up, I was trying to figure out the best way to cover my book. My binder. My binder has like some kind of soft padding in the middle, but it's still a hard cover. I don't want to take this apart. I'm just not comfortable doing that. But this binder is not stiff at all. It actually stays pretty flat. So I think this will work out for me. Then I saw Tracy Jackson advertising her journal that she made using the corset spine. It's to store your ephemera. And they're beautiful. She doesn't have a tutorial yet, but I know she's planning to make one. But it just dawned on me when I was looking at this binder that would be a great way to cover this up. I wouldn't have to do a whole lot of work, I think. I would leave Tracy's video on the description in case you guys are interested to take a look at what she made. I can't wait for Tracy to make her video, but I did see how Eva did it, and I think I kind of understood on how to do it. So it's a new system for me, so I think I might have a couple of ideas that might help you guys to simplify things. The size of my binder is it's 9 inches is the height, and it's approximately 7 inches is the width, and the spine is 1.5. I think the 9x7 must be the generic size of a smaller 3-ring binder, because I have another one that's the same, except the spine. The brown one is only a 1-inch spine. So what we need to do is make a template. Based on my binder, I need to cut, I'm going to use a cereal box, and I'm cutting 8.5 is my height, and right now the width does not matter. So this is going to give me a border of 1/4 inch on each top and bottom. This process that I'm showing you is going to be really for something that you are ready to cover. So let's say you're not using a 3-ring binder, but you already have a journal that has sewn in signatures already. You've already completed. Now you just want to cover this. So what you would want to do is measure that book that you want to cover, what the height is. And the height on this is 9.25. I would cut my template to 8 3/4 because that's still going to give me the 1/4 inch border for the top and the bottom. Once you have that figured out, then what we need to do with our template is we need to mark from the edge over here, we need to mark 1/4 inch away from this edge. So we need a straight line for 1/4 inch. And I know on my ruler, if I use this line here, that makes it 1/4 inch. So here's my 1/4 inch line. Remember, this is 8.5, so I am trying to make this into a solid number, I think it's what you would say. What I mean is I don't want this to be 8.5 anymore. I want to be able to work with 8 inches. So what I want to do is make a border on the top, a 1/4 inch on the top and a 1/4 inch on the bottom. Okay, so now that I have my 1/4 inch border, what I want to do is, once you do the measurement or you put your ruler, then from this line to here I have 8 inches. So what I would like to do is, wherever you put the border, as you can see, mine is only one side. I didn't do it on this side. You don't need to do that. So with mine, I am going to use my ruler, and every inch I am going to put a mark on my line here. So here are my lines. It's the red mark here. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7. So what we're going to do with this is, just so you know, you are not putting one here or here. I'm doing an X. Like this. Okay. So now what we need to do is punch our hole on where these inches are. So to punch a hole, I'm going to use my crocodile, and remember the little, what do you call it, a stopper or a marker, I think. Make sure you have that mark to where you want it to be. Let's see if you guys can see where mine is. What I would do is I would just check to see where is that center of that X that I have. And that's basically what you're looking at, right? So then once you have it, you punch a hole like that. So you're gonna do it for all the other ones here. Now we're doing the hole. We're also going to use an eyelet for this. So make sure whatever hole you're using, whatever, you know, that you have that eyelet for it. Or if you're not using an eyelet, let's say you don't have one of these and you're just doing the hole puncher by itself, then you probably, to reinforce it, I probably use those binder reinforcement, like these. And I probably do, if I'm doing this, I would do the, I would do 2 of them and put glue on them when you stick them onto your cover. All right, so here's my template. I have it labeled where the top is and what it is. And I have all the holes, 7 holes. Now, depending on the height of your book, you might have 8, you might have 9 or 10, but mine is just 7. Now that our template is done, we'll just put this aside. Our next step is going to be deciding on what your base is going to be that you're going to use for your cover. So my choices are, I have these cardboard. This is the backing of these 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper, and they're pretty thick, pretty sturdy. So you can use this, especially if your cover is those soft cover and you need something a little bit sturdier, then I would use this. But with mine, I don't think I need to use something that heavy since mine is already pretty sturdy. So I am just gonna use this cardstock paper here. It's still pretty thick. I have plenty of these that I need to use. So I'll need 3 pieces. So I'm gonna need one for the front. I need one that's gonna be 8.5 by 6.5, since the width of my binder is 7. And then I'm gonna need another piece for the back. And then the spine, my spine is 1.5. So I'm gonna go with 1 inch of a spine. So whatever I'm using, whatever you're using, cut your 3 pieces. So here's my 3 pieces all ready to be decorated. So we need to go ahead and decorate this. If you are using the thicker cardstock like this, And let's say you're just using, whether you're using one whole sheet of a digital or maybe you're collaging, you want to overlap your paper so you can actually cover it to the back like this. So that way you can cover the thickness of this cardstock, so you won't be able to see that. With mine, I don't need to do that because it's pretty thin, so I'm just gonna ink it. So what I'm using for mine, I have these digitals that I already printed. This is gonna be my cover, and this is the back. And I am doing this challenge by Natalie. It's called The Winter's Tale. And I noticed how this was kind of on top of it, and I noticed how the colors works very well with each other. So I am going to use this for my spine. So thank you, Natalie. And I'm going to go ahead and cut my pieces and glue them to my cardstock. Here are my 3 pieces. I'll glue to my cardstock. I did use my 3-in-1 glue. Now for the next step, it's very important that we wait till our glue is dry, because now we're going to need to put holes in them. What we'll need to do is get our template that we made earlier. And what we're going to do is let's work on the cover, the front cover first. And you're going to place your template like this and just clip it. Make sure it's all lined up like this. Now this is why it was important that we make our template, because in order for us to put holes on these 3 pieces, we would have to measure 3 times, and then your holes still may not line up. So with the template, you're guaranteed that your holes are going to line up to where they need to be. Just as long as you always keep in mind where your top is for your template. So now what I'm going to need is I am going to use my red pen, because it is easy to see the red when I have to punch in the holes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace the holes to my cover. So here's my cover. As you can see, I punched a hole just to show you guys my red marking. It's not really going to be showing. So now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and take your template and do the back cover. With our template, you can't put it like this, turn it upside down or whatever. You can't do it that way. So what you're going to have to do is turn this over like this, and you clip it, and then you do your marking. The same concept for the spine. Now if you have something like I can tell the orientation of my page, like I know this is the top because of my picture, but something like this is harder to tell as to which one is the top. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you mark on the back of it. So with the spine, to mark the circle, the hole on this side, we're going to do our template like this. And then of course on this side, we're going to turn over our template and do it this way. Once you have all your holes marked, you want to go ahead and use your crocodile and start punching holes on all of them. Once you do that, what you're going to need is you're going to need your eyelet and start placing them on every single hole. So with mine, I'm going to need 28 eyelet. So it's going to take me a while to do this. If you're not using the eyelet and you're using the hole reinforcement, you want to go ahead and do that now. So you want to go ahead and once you do the hole, of course, you want to go ahead and place them. Like I said, I would put glue under them, and I would probably use 2. If you want, that's just gonna give it some more strength on your cover. You also want to go ahead and ink your cover, especially on this side, and then the spine, because we're not going to be able to access that later. It took a while, but I have all my 28 eyelets all placed, and this is what it would look like. Something like this. But before I put these together, what I would like to do I would like to cover the inside. There's a pocket here, and there's no pocket on the other side. And what I'm using is Louisa and Barbara's Freebies. This is Louisa's. As you can see, I have it all inked and cut to the size, so I can go ahead and just glue it. Later on this one, I'm going to put some kind of pocket. And for Barbara, I am going to use this. I'm going to put it inside here. I had to print this twice, and I have the other piece over here. So I'm going to glue that using my Fabri-Tac, and I'm hoping that this will work because it said it would bond with leather, but I want to go ahead and experiment and see if it works. I've never worked with vinyl before, so I'm not sure if I'm using the proper glue. So I'll give this a try. While the binder is drying, let's go ahead and work on the cover. So now what we'll need is our pieces, and you need to go ahead and decide if you're going to use string or ribbon that you want to put these through together. So with mine, I decided to use, I think these are just kitchen twine, and because it's not very thick, it's pretty thin, I think I'm going to do three strands of these. So what I would do is I am going to go ahead and measure 3.5. And I'm hoping that's going to be enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 more pieces. So I have 3. So here's my 3 pieces. And what I want to do is I want to tape these together so they kind of stay in place. And I want to do mine kind of flat like this. So I am just using a washi tape. You can use any tape that you have. And I'm just going to tape the end of these so it makes it easier for me to weave them to the eyelets. Okay, so I got mine both end, and now what you want to do is we're going to work on the spine first, and then this, and you just go under there, or actually it's over and then under to connect it to the spine. And once you do that, you just want to take your string together and just make sure they're the same height again. And what you want to do is you're going to loosely do the, you know, it's like putting your shoelaces. You're going to go under the spine like this. Oh, I did not do a very good job on this tape. You do under like this. Like this. All right, so you're just making an X, and do it loosely for right now, like this. And you want to go all the way down here. Here it is. I got my string in there. Now, I did this several times experimenting, and I can't seem to get my string lined up together at the very end. Eva, she has hers like even, and I'm not sure how she does it. I mean, she is an expert. She's done a couple of these, and this is my first time doing it. So I figured out a system for me. I'm going to use my cutting mat. I just got this from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use it to help me with the gap that I want for my string. So all I'm going to do is line up my spine here and clip it. So I clipped it to the top and the bottom of my cutting mat. And as you can see, the gap that I have here is over 1/2 inch. Now, I did try several distance. I've tried a 1/4 inch or just 1/2 inch and like almost 3/4 of an inch. And those were too small or too big. My spine would not line up in the middle of my binder. And so when I was trying to calculate everything, this was going to be my best solution. So this is why I'm going with this measurement. So you might want to play around with, I should have showed this to you guys earlier, with your binder as to what it would look like, you know, if you had it, like where would your spine be? So right now this is still pretty loose, and so it's making my spine in the middle. I'm not really sure if there's a math to it on how you decide on what your gap is. I just figured this is going to be the best solution for me for the binder. So you guys just kind of do your judgment and see what's going to be better for your cover. As you can see, I have it clipped back to my cutting mat. I forgot to mention, when you clip it to your mat, to go ahead and leave enough room on the left side so you can do your back cover. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and make our string tight. So I'm just going to go ahead and start from the top, you know, from this line. You pull your string until you get to the end. So once you're at the end, if you are happy with the way your excess is looking, then you can move on to the next step. If not, you can go ahead and fix it, straighten it up if you want. I'm gonna leave mine as is. I think having it with different look kind of gives it a little bit of a character. So once you're ready to move on to your next step, we wanna go ahead and do the back cover. And so I need to go ahead and cut more strings and tape it, and then weave it loosely onto the spine here. I had to unclip the spine to make it easier to weave my string to the back cover. And then once I finished, I went ahead and reclipped them. I was using this earlier, but they're pretty sticky and it's leaving like a marking on my paper. So be careful on the clip that you guys use. So now all I need to do is I need to go ahead and tighten up this side. I am pretty happy with the outcome now. So I just want to tell you guys, I did learn how to figure out what the measurement is. So my gap here is 9/16 of an inch. So now what we need to do is at the bottom here, I'm just going to tie. I'm going to tie it together, not too tight, just a little loose, but to keep our gap to be the same, and do the bow for right now. And I'm not going to cut anything off yet. So we're just going to leave it like this for now. And I'm going to do the other side. So here's our cover. Now we're ready to go ahead and glue it to our binder. And there is one thing I want to adjust. I'm looking at the spine, and when I'm looking at the spine, my eyes go directly to the top, like it's missing something. Here, I got some things to look at. I don't see anything there. So I think what I want to do here is I want to put like a dangle, but I know I can't put a hole in here. My solution is going to be using a brad. Let me go find a brad. I have this, it looks like a button. And I went ahead and put a smaller hole, just enough to fit the legs of the brad, to just go in there like that. And to make it dangle, I need to put in these little round thing. I don't know what they're called, but I think if I put two like this, like that. Then I can use it to clip on something. I have, you know, those, what do you call them? Gourd, some kind of pin. I forget what they're called. Not safety pin. But they would look like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So to do this, what I need is, I need to go ahead and put this in. Let's turn this over. I'm going to put a tape, and then to kind of tape up the leg, I'm going to put tape. And before I put the tape, I'm going to put glue just to make sure it stays in place. Okay, so that's all I did. Here's the dangle now, and then I just taped it. I used this. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know it's pretty strong. So now let's go ahead and put it into our binder. And the best way, I think I need to do this because I don't want to mess up. I'm going to try to clip on one side first. Oh, and by the way, the glue did work pretty good on the inside. I tried to lift it up and it's sticking on there pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and work on this one here. I'm just going to go ahead and line this up and clip it. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to glue my spine over here. I'm just going to put glue on the top here and then on the bottom here. Nothing on the inside. I'm just going to do it like this because this is where I'm worried about being centered. And I'm using Fabri-Tac. To wait till the spine is dry, and I'm having a hard time with the clip because my clip are not long enough. So just making sure when you are gluing the spine, you kind of want to push this, or maybe if I have it closed might be better like this. I don't know, maybe I should have put glued in the middle. No. I think I'm just going to let it dry like this for right now and stop touching it. With the Fabri-Tac, you're able to move your spine to the position where you want it to before it dries. What I'm going to do is once this is dry, I'm going to go ahead and glue on the cover. Again, I'm not putting glue where the strings are. I'm just putting glue to the top here and maybe over here. So I'm going to put glue like right here, the edging over here, and then over here, and the same thing on the back. And I'm going to let my binder dry overnight, and then we'll do a final look through. I'm probably going to go ahead and decorate the front, and then that should be it. While my binder is drying, I wanted to show you guys the template that I made earlier. I just did a couple more markings so I can remember how to do things. I also have some notes that I made. It's got the true measurement of the binder and the cover itself. Making this journal was hard and tedious for me. I think it's because of all the holes and all the eyelets that I had to put in for the cover. Would I do it again? Of course I will. I like having another option as to what my spine would look like when I'm making my journal. What I would like to do is I would want to put this in my project keeper. If you guys are interested on how I made this, I will leave the link below. I wanted to show you guys also the planner that I made, the template that we had, and how to do the 6-hole pamphlet stitch. I'm putting it in here. And this is going to help me remember if I ever, you know, when I do it again, I'll have my notes and I'll be ready. I wanted to show you guys, this is Louisa's mouse, Effie. He's the mascot for the 2023 Defemember. And this is Barbara. And as you can tell, they're the same but different. Barbara has brown eyes and Louisa has blue eyes. So to me, they're two different type of mouse. So what I wanted, since this was named and Barbara has no name, it's supposed to be Effie also, I'm going to name him Remy because they're going to be best friends. As you can remember, I had put Remy in the inside cover. And now I have Effie in the front. The other thing I wanted to point out was when I was done gluing this and it was dry, I did try to tighten up my string, and that did not work out so well because it was too tight. My binder was not sitting properly anymore, so I would leave it as is. Just make sure that your bow is kind of secure, but you want to be able to untie it in case you ever need to reposition it, not reposition, to tighten it up a little bit, because as your journal grows, you might need a different size or something. I don't think mine would make a difference because I have the 3-ring binder, but yours will. Thank you, Tracy, for the inspiration, and Eva for the guidance on how to make it. And of course, thank you to Barbara and Louisa for all the freebies and hosting the 2023 Defemember. And guys, thank you guys so much for your support and continuing to watch my video. Until next time, happy crafting.